Just been reading a book this morning, and it's kind of the topic of today. So the topic of today came across this quote, Epictetus, the philosopher. He says, don't just say that you've read books. Show that through them that you've learnt to think better. That's a fantastic quote. And I did a video when I was out in Budapest. The difference between a theologian and a practitioner. And it was all about, it's okay to be a theologian and read a load of books. But unless you're going to convert the lessons that you learn in those books into reality, what does it matter, And this is, I'm going to do another video on this, going to do a proper one. But essentially, speaking to someone the other day, my guy who's a financial advisor, and just talking about books, and I mentioned that, when you read a book, some books are better than others, some you get into, some you can't finish, it doesn't really matter, but the main thing with reading is, I believe that all the knowledge is contained in books. So everything you want to learn is somewhere in a book, right? Yes, there are many sources to learn. But the first part is getting the knowledge down, and then you've got to put it into practice. So, and, some books are absolutely packed with lessons. Some are not, and this is why I find it an essential part. But what I would say is, you only need one lesson in a book to make it worth reading. So you only need to find one lesson. And I've just been reading this one. This will probably be mirrored because it's alive. The seven spiritual laws of success. Deepak Chopra. Started reading. It's only a little book. And already page 2, right? There's a lesson here. That probably enough. Probably put it down after this. So at the very top of the page, it says, success in life can be defined as continued expansion of happiness and progressive realization of worthy goals. Who said that? Isn't that a Neville Goddard quote? I think so. Definitely, I've heard him say it. Or it might have been Napoleon Hill. But yeah, who said this? Success in life could be defined as a continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. That's definitely been said before. And I believe that, it's a journey, isn't it? Success is about, and once you're on that journey, and you're working towards worthy goals, what is a worthy goal? You define that. It's a worthy goal to you. It's something that will enhance your personal development. That is a worthy goal, right? So progressive realization of worthy goals. And then just at the bottom here, there's a belter, because I've struggled with this when I spoke to Roberto. I really like this. This is the one lesson. It says at the bottom, there are many aspects to success. Material wealth is only one component. Moreover, success is a journey, not a destination, which we know. But listen to this line now. Material abundance, in all its expressions, happens to be one of those things that makes the journey more enjoyable. I fucking love that, right? Because when I was speaking to Roberto, right, we do all this meditation and it's great, and trying to, the whole idea of getting more mindful is if we're just left alone without being, if we're not conscious, right, we end up with this scenario where there might be some, we feed off validation from whether it's like the opposite sex, whether it's addictions, we want to have a drink or whatever. These addictions are just dopamine fixes, they're validation fixes. And when when I'm doing this kind of meditation, Roberto, he's always telling me that to become more mindful is to be at peace. So you remove that lack. Why is it that lack that you need to search for these things? And anyway, I'm waffling a bit, but this line here explains that to me, because I was saying to him at the time, I said, yeah, it's like the Stoic thing, you know, delayed gratification. It's great. Just keep working on self-improvement. Great. But you need some fucking reward, don't you, eventually? You know what I mean? You'd like to think that as you move forward, you get some reward. Hi, Katana. How are you doing? Is that a bit of Russian or is it Ukrainian? Just let me know. I can't tell the difference. It's in that, but it's definite. Hi. But yeah, we need some reward. So this line here, you know, when it says progressive, you know, success is all about expansion of happiness and progressive realization of worthy goals. Sorry, I don't understand. I'll translate it later. Material abundance in all its expressions happens to be one of those things that makes this journey more enjoyable. I like that, because I do believe that we need that reward. So when I say about reading that you only need to pick up one lesson to make the book worthwhile, you only need to find one lesson in every book. And that's my lesson there. Now, the first lesson, that first bit, progressive realization of worthy goals, obviously that's been said before. I can't remember whether it was Neville Goddard or someone like that, or it might have been, I think it wasn't Neville Goddard who said that line. But this bit about material abundance making the journey more enjoyable, I think is true. And it kind of gives me a bit of comfort, that, because one of the issues I have with that sort of stoic mindset is just the continued delayed gratification. I mean, I think Naval had it quite right in his book where he said something like delayed gratification is great, but eventually, you know, you're going to need some reward, because if you just continually delay gratification, you'll be fucking dead before you get the benefits of it. You know what I mean? So anyway, got another book here. What's the lesson I learnt here? 4-hour work week. This was probably, I read this, flipping heck, it must be more than 15 years ago. It's something like that. I read it maybe 15, 20 years ago, whatever. Maybe not 20, I think at least 15 years ago. And this was one of them first books that kind of started changing my life, you know, getting me to think differently. Lesson I learnt here: low information diet, right? So that is cutting out non-essential tasks and non-essential thinking. So it's like trying to free up your brain, and you do that by using things like relying on digital calendars and stuff like this, so you're not having to think too much. Don't sweat the small stuff, that kind of thing. So stay results focused. So low information diet, I could do a video on that. Just read this one, How to Sell Anything to Anybody, Joe Girard, sales book. One of the biggest lessons I got from here was about the power of smells out, because he was a car salesman. So the power of smells, smell things, right? And he was saying what he would do, car salesman, he'd always try and get the person, you know, the prospect, to sit in the car, because he knew, didn't have to say anything, just get them to sit in the car and they just smell that new car smell. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but as soon as you sit in a car and you just smell it, and it gets your emotions, right? And we know that people buy on emotions and use rationalization to justify it later. So he knew that. He didn't have to say anything, just get them to sit in the car. And one thing I like, you know, because I'm into books, I love new book smells. So this one's a new book. I read this, like I said, many years ago, but I just bought a new copy and it smells wonderful. So, yeah, and I actually just found some fragrance online, which is called New Book Smell. So it's like new books. And yeah, if you want to smell something, If you want to sell something, use smells. Finally, this book. I've got lots of books, but I'm just going to show you a few. Getting the Love That You Want. Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt. Great book. Lesson in this is the imago match concept therapy, which is you get attracted to the missing part of you. So it talks about the shadow. So what is the missing part of you? And the idea is to use the opposite person. This is like the love of anxious, avoidant, trap type thing. You use the opposite person to heal you. So you practice the missing part of you each. So the anxious practices being avoidant, and the avoidant practices being anxious, which means they got to be vulnerable. They hate that. I know. So yeah, you've got to use the opposite person. So yeah, you only need one lesson in every book to make it worth reading. And back to the title, I'll just say the quote again, Epictetus quote, which was, "Don't just say that you have read the books. Show that through them that you can think better." And I think that's it. It is, as I say, the difference between a theologian and a practitioner. That's why I always like to take the lessons. One of the most valuable thing that you can do when you read is to put the lessons into practice. Like I say, this book here, 4 Hour Work Week, it's a conceptual book, you know. Having said that, you can actually work 4 hours a week if you're very, very results focused. So quite often I only work about 15 hours, maybe 20 hours a week. Solid, just because I'm results focused. So what I do, like the low information diet thing in here, is all about cutting everything back and just being results focused. So what I do is every day, I'll talk about this, you know, like in the journal, it's built into the journal. You know, the 3 small things I will do today, and you write the little goal ID there, and then you just put 3 things, right? But the good thing is all of these are feeding back to your goals, you know, that you got at the start. And it's based on continuous improvement. So the idea, what I do is every day, I put what are the 3 small things I'm going to do today. These are like the top 3 things I need to do that day. If I do nothing else, I just need to do that, right? And I just do them 3 things. And then once I've done them, try and do them as early as possible. The pressure's off then. I can toss it off for the rest of the day because I've done 3 things that actually matter, moving me towards what it says in here. I'll just read it again. Success in life can be defined as the continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. So that progressive realization of worthy goals, what are the top 3 things that I'm going to do today? They're the progressive realization of the worthy goals. That's what I do. That could take you 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours tops. 3 things, focus blocks of time. Even if you work a 8-10 hour day in an office or in a factory or whatever you got to do for a job, just think about it. You know, what 3 things today are going to move me closer? Do them, and then it doesn't matter what else you do. Because I've talked about this a lot in the workplace. Most of the things that you do don't matter. All them emails and meetings, and are they really moving you closer? I doubt it, but there you go. So yeah, don't just say that you read books. Show that through them that you've learnt to think better. Every book contains at least 1 lesson, all right? Go and do some reading, focus on your top 3 things of the day. Right, I'm going to shoot. Got to go to the office today. See you all next time.